There's a strange kind of peace that settles over a tidy neighborhood in early summer, you know what I mean, right? That perfect hum of sprinklers, the fresh-cut grass, kids shrieking in the distance, the whole world in a holding pattern of ordinary happiness. For a lot of folks around here, those quiet moments are exactly what we scraped and saved for just some slice of stable American life where nothing big ever happens. At least that's what I thought right up until the day our whole community imploded in the middle of a high school graduation and the queen of our so-called peace got hauled off in handcuffs in front of everybody all because of a car. Let me back up a sec. My name's David Chen, and for as long as I can remember, I've been obsessed with classic cars, not the kind you just polish and brag about. I mean the real deal busted knuckles midnight in the garage, YouTube tutorials running in the background while your neighbors wonder if you've joined some weird cult. 6 months back, I finally finished restoring my crown jewel, a 1970 Dodge Challenger Purple Plum. Crazy. The kind of car that gets total strangers waving you down at gas stations. Took me 3 years, every spare dollar, and all my patience, but by the end it was like I'd rebuilt a piece of my own past. Now I live in Willowbrook Estates, the kind of place that looks like a TV set. Lawns trimmed so neat you'd think the grass was scared to misbehave, holiday lights blinking off at exactly 10 p.m., and an HOA that runs things with an iron fist and a 40-page rulebook. At the top of that little kingdom sat Margaret Whitfield, president of the HOA, who wore her title like royalty and acted like any hiccup in the neighborhood was a personal insult. For 5 years, she'd ruled with the sort of energy you usually see in reality TV villains. Fence too high, that's a violation. Trash cans left out, that's a fine. Grass growing wild, you'd think you'd committed a felony. But then about 3 weeks before graduation, Margaret set her sights on something new. Her son Tyler was about to head off to college, and somewhere along the way she'd promised him a car, the only problem being she hadn't actually bought one. So one bright Saturday, she showed up at my place, clipboard and all grinning that HOA grin. We did the fake neighbor small talk for about 2 minutes, and then quick as a snake, she nods toward my Challenger and suggests, dead serious, that I donate it to Tyler as a graduation gift. It would mean a lot to the community, David, she said, like it was just the neighborly thing to do. I thought she was joking. I told her nice and easy the car wasn't for sale, wasn't for donation, wasn't going anywhere, and that it was basically part of my soul at this point. That's when the smile slipped. Suddenly, it was all about community spirit and supporting our youth, and how neighborhoods are only as strong as the sacrifices we're willing to make. When I still didn't budge, she left me with this little warning: the HOA valued generosity, and those who lacked it might find themselves at odds with their neighbors. Next morning, there's the violation letter in my mailbox. My grass was allegedly 3 inches instead of 2. Then another ticket for parking the Challenger at the wrong angle. Then a warning for excessive mechanical activity. Even though I hadn't so much as popped the hood that week, it was like Margaret had unleashed the entire weight of the HOA rulebook on my front lawn. And pretty soon I was racking up fines for things nobody else ever got called out on. She wasn't subtle about it either. At the next HOA meeting, she proposed this wild new bylaw that said anyone selling a car had to offer it to their neighbors first as a first right of purchase. I kid you not, she was trying to legally force me to hand over my car. Still, I didn't cave, so she doubled down. I get a certified letter, all official, saying she's suing me for emotional distress and community disruption to the tune of 50 grand. I about spit out my coffee when my lawyer read it. He said it was the dumbest thing he'd seen in 20 years. The judge didn't need much convincing, case dismissed. Margaret told to cover my legal fees, and I figured that was that. But you don't know Margaret. She didn't walk away. She got weirder. Suddenly, cars started parking right in front of my house at all hours, blocking my driveway. Somebody started leaving anonymous complaints with the city that I was running an illegal chop shop. The rumors spread fast. Next thing I know, a few neighbors are giving me the side eye, and Tyler, her son, looks like he wants to melt into the pavement every time he drives by. Then comes graduation day. It's June 5th, bright and early, and I'm sitting in the bleachers at Riverside High, ready to watch my niece Emma walk across that stage. My Challenger's parked up front, polished and perfect. My sister wanted graduation photos with it after. The mood's good, the air's hopeful, and for 1 second I almost forget the HOA madness, until I hear Margaret's heels clicking toward me in the parking lot. She doesn't waste a second. Today is my son's day, she hisses, and you're going to do the right thing. She demands the keys, says Tyler deserves that car more than anyone. I tell her again it's not happening. She snaps. She grabs my arm, tries to dig through my pockets, screaming at the top of her lungs that I'm selfish, that I'm ruining her family, that she'll see my house condemned, see me fired, make sure everyone knows what a bad neighbor I am. By now, parents are turning around, some filming, some hustling their kids away. My sister's calling 911, but Margaret's too far gone. She tries to pull me by my shirt, and when I pull away, she starts ranting to the cops who've just shown up, claims I stole the car, that it was promised to her son, and that I assaulted her. The officers take one look at the crowd of witnesses, see the red marks on my arm, and ask if I want to press charges. I say yes. Margaret's face goes pale. She tries to walk it all back, but it's too late. The cuffs come out. She's arrested for assault and attempted theft, screaming and crying in front of 2,000 people. I'll never forget the sound, the whole stadium just silent like someone turned off the world. Tyler's called up to get his diploma to dead silence, the whole class staring at him. And I honestly felt bad for the kid. The video hits Facebook before we even get home. Within hours, Willowbrook's group chats are blowing up. By that evening, the HOA holds an emergency meeting, and it turns out Margaret's been using HOA funds for personal legal fights, inventing rules threatening people, even siphoning 30 grand over 5 years from the HOA treasury. She's removed as president on the spot. Over the next few days, even more stuff comes out. She'd been pressuring folks for gifts for years, threatening citations if people didn't cooperate, and manipulating the board into looking the other way. But here's where the story takes another wild turn. After her arrest, Margaret shows up at my work. Security calls me down, says there's a woman in the lobby ranting about theft of community resources. She's got a full PowerPoint presentation printed out demanding my boss fire me. When that doesn't work, she comes back the next day with flyers, photos of me and my car, claiming I'm some kind of danger to children, posting it all over our building. She starts this Facebook group called Justice for Tyler, but pretty much the only people who join are her fake accounts. You could spot the writing a mile away. By the time someone uploads the arrest video with circus music, the whole internet's laughing. Her reputation is toast. At trial, we hear she'd promised Tyler, my challenger, even let him pick out accessories, told her friends it was already his. She honestly believed that being in charge meant everything belonged to her, that if she pushed hard enough, the world would hand her whatever she wanted. The judge goes easy, all things considered, 18 months probation, 500 hours of community service payback, $23,000 to the HOA, barred from running anything for a decade, and she loses her real estate license. She faints right there in court. Now every evening I look out at my driveway, see that purple Challenger catching the sunset, and think about all the ways one little car brought out the absolute worst and weirdly the best in people. Standing your ground matters, not just for what you own, but for what you believe is right, even when someone with a clipboard tries to tell you otherwise. I gotta say, watching Margaret get what she deserved was satisfying. But I sometimes wonder, in neighborhoods like ours, is peace just a truce? Or did we all just get better at hiding the real battles? Anyway, that's my story. If you've ever tangled with an HOA tyrant or had your own neighbor from hell moment hit, share your craziest tale in the comments. And let's talk. What's fair? What's justice? And when is enough finally enough?